Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the CJRB Resource, a larger option that is also a budget knife. That's really cool. It should be available at the time you're watching this video, so I will have links for it right down below in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links before you buy something, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to CJRB for sending it in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. It is definitely on the larger side. The overall length of the Resource is coming in at 9 inches. Blade length coming in at 4 inches and cutting edge about 3.9. Really nice to see some companies tackling this area. It just seemed like for a long time we just didn't see any larger options in the budget, or on this channel, when I say budget, it means under $75. You can have a different definition, that's fine, but my definition is under $75. In this territory specifically, we just didn't see companies really hitting this mark very often, and I've seen a few, so it looks like they are experimenting with it, a few different companies, especially CJRB, so that's really cool. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2, especially up against the Ontario Rat 1. You can see it really is, it's a big knife, right? Not a Cold Steel Espada XL, but it's a big knife. Up against the Demco AD 20.5, you can see there. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? There we go. And then last but not least, I think we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, which is now sporting the, this is the first time it's been used as a size comparison with the new Original Goat scales, which will also, Original Goat will also be linked in the description. But really cool. You're going to see that from now on. And then the Benchmade Bug Out. So there we go. How's the action on this knife? This is a liner lock with plenty of access. Watch out for that blade. And thumb studs that are the right size and the right shape with a rounded, like a dome. This is very similar to the thumb studs on the Ontario Rat, and I love the thumb studs on the Ontario Rat for a reason. It's because they're comfortable. They're not finger landmines. There's so many companies who are like, you know what? Let's try making the thumb stud in the shape of a pine cone with needles on it. That sounds like a great idea. Why? Make the thumb stud something that doesn't hurt your thumb when you use it to deploy the knife. It's such a weird thing that happens with some knife designers, and OEMs are just like, yeah, you know what, that's fine. It's shaped like a thumbtack. Oh yeah, perfect. Thumbs love interacting with thumbtacks. That's why they're called thumbtacks, right? Not when they're flipped the other way around. This is, sorry for the tangent. This is the type, whoops, couldn't get under that lip there. This is the type of thumb stud I like, and it's comfortable. The access to the lock bar is good. The action is very good, but there's a lot of blade coming down. So I would be really careful when you disengage that lock. Don't turn it like this and let gravity take control of the blade there. Turn it a little bit sideways and let it slowly fall if you're going to use one hand to disengage it. Deploying it is actually really simple. You can use the thumb studs, or you can ignore the thumb studs and use the fuller here. Sorry, that was a bad one. And you can sort of place your finger wherever it's optimal, because that fuller runs almost the entire length of the blade, which is very good. I enjoy that. Disengagement is easy. The detent feels good. It's good to go. How about carry profile? Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It is a little bit thicker, a lot a bit thicker actually than the Spyderco Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see this guy here is quite long, closed up. It's actually longer than the PM2. Height-wise, yeah, you know, it is pretty tall, though it's not quite as tall as the one on the Para 3. You will notice this thing in terms of length and overall thickness. Giggity. But yeah, you will notice it in the pocket. Giggity. All right, enough. Let's calm down. Guys, come on. It's time to get serious, all right? Enough with the inappropriate jokes. I've had enough of it. You will notice it, though. So just be cognizant of that, unless you've been carrying gigantic knives, in which case you probably won't notice it as much. We have, for materials, we have gray G10 that's been fairly aggressively stepped and textured. And then we have AR RPM 9, and we have steel liners. How much does it weigh? Quite a bit. It's a heavy knife, definitely. The inside, the liners on the inside have not been milled out for weight reduction. Probably should have done that, but okay. The weight here on the Resource comes in at actually less than I thought. I thought this was going to be a 7-ounce knife. It's still a lot, 6.14 ounces, but, you know, okay, not the worst thing in the world. Use your best judgment there. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. This here is a T8. This here is a T8, and that's going to get you the pivot, and I believe, has the day come? It has. It will also get you into the body screws here. Not the pocket clip screws, but that's okay. Those are T6. 2 screws on each side, 2 pocket clip screws. I'm happy with that. And guess what? You can see here that the holes are milled out for lefty carry, but that pocket clip curves, which means if you flipped it over to the other side, it would curve the wrong way and it would mount awkwardly. They also send you the lefty clip, which is really, really nice. That's really cool. Nice move from CJRB that will not go unnoticed by left-handed people, and it certainly is not going to go unnoticed by me. Including that lefty clip is really cool, and it really helps out the other 10% of the population that's just had freaking ground meatloaf cannon blasted in their face by knife makers and knife OEMs, right? Not really. It's just like they're just like, well, whatever. I guess they don't get one. Still, though, it sucks, right? So that's cool. Lefties, you know, it's a right-handed liner lock, but hey, you get to carry it the way that you want, which is that's a win. It's a W. All right. Blade thickness. Is it a thick blade? I think kind of for CJRB, actually. Is that 125, maybe 130? Maybe I'm totally wrong. Let's find out. Nope. 125. 125 thousandths. Okay. Still under the median, right? Which is about 130, 135. Meat and potatoes time. This is a big knife. Classic knife profile, right? A lot of people are going to see that fuller and say, that looked like the Medford Marauder. Yeah, the Medford Marauder has a long oval in it, and that's definitely, Medford came up with that, the long oval, the patented long oval. That blade looked like it looked like a drop point blade, just like the Marauder. Yeah, they didn't make up the drop point blade either. This is gonna sorry. I'm sorry. That's what you sound like. That's what you sound like. These are classic knife lines. The reason that you're immediately, and it's newer people, the reason that you immediately start thinking of what you think it's a copy of, it's because everything has a similar handle profile and blade profile because these are classic utilitarian knife lines. They work. They are traditional knife lines, right? It's not a copy of anything. But ovals, people can use ovals. The general shape of a drop point blade, people can do that. That's not owned by anybody, right? So that's totally okay. And you know what? It has a good look to it. I like it. The handle profile is good and it's generally comfortable. The steps I think are okay. You definitely have a lot of traction on this knife. There's an abrupt drop off. It's like a 90-degree angle right here. And really, I think these should have been knocked down a little bit more. It's not so much where I'm like, no, don't buy it. You can't use it. No, not at all. It's fine. But it's just not so squared off, right? They're okay. They're not razor sharp. They're not shaving my fingernails or anything. Not that they would with it being Actually, they actually are shaving my fingernails. I think CJRB should have knocked this down just a bit. It just would help, right? The other thing, as much as I'm appreciative that we have a left-handed and right-handed clip, I think the clip is still a little bit long, and we did this thing where we went straight and then a dip and then a little bit of a point right here. It's not too bad, but you do feel it. Not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's a VV clip. Weird thing in my throat. Yeah, it's okay, right? But you do feel it. Ergonomically, it's mainly the classic lines and the fact that we have a large handle, right? If you have hands like mine, I wear an XL glove. Many viewers do. That doesn't really mean we have big hands, guys and gals. That's just the glove manufacturers figuring out how to make us feel really cool at Home Depot. If you have actually huge hands, meaning if you wear a 2XL glove or larger, you'll probably feel pretty good on this, right? If you're the size of the mountain from Game of Thrones, you're going to have a couple of fingers slipping off the end of this. But for everybody else, meaning literally everybody on the planet, you're going to be probably pretty okay on this. Even if you have smaller hands and you just like larger knives, it's made in a way that's going to make you feel comfortable. The bigger your hands are, the more you're going to notice that clip, for sure. Let's move on to the blade. We have a nice, just classic tumble drop point blade. This is the type of fuller where debris might build up a little bit. Fortunately, paper towels exist, which is a thing that sometimes people forget. You can use a paper towel to clean your blade off. Did you know that? It's always a funny argument. If I cut things with that fuller gets the teeth in it, clean it out. What do you mean? You just are like, well, guess that's there forever, and you just put it away. Clean it off. The fuller's cool. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it's funny because it's like a non-issue to me because I don't think about it. I'm like, well, there's something on my blade. I'm going to clean it off, right? But it will, if you're, here's who it's a problem for. If you're cutting, let's say all day, your job is to stab motor oil, right? Well, that motor oil is probably going to collect right here in the fuller. If then you also don't own any other utensil for cutting cheese, then you will use your motor oil knife to cut that cheese. If you don't clean the motor oil out or off of your blade thoroughly, I mean, you can't just wipe it down. You actually have to clean it. If you don't do that, then you get motor oil in your cheese. And if you eat that cheese, you are consuming motor oil. This is a problem for specifically these people, but I'm kind of describing an incredibly stupid person. So don't be that person. Clean your blade off. It's simple. The utility, in my opinion, that the fuller adds is well worth it, considering it's common sense to clean it out. I also like the way that it looks. So I don't really have a problem with that. I got so excited about that analogy that I spit all over the blade. Sorry. It's got a flat actually behind the fuller. You can see it right here. And it runs out, I don't know, 70, 75, maybe 70% the length of the blade. Comes down to a nice tip. The cutting bevel is even on both sides. Nice little sharpening tool there. This is a Dirk Pinkerton design, which is cool. I tend to like his designs. AR RPM 9, I think that's fine. This is, of course, a proprietary blend. Proprietary. I'm not getting my pronunciation or enunciation correct today. It is a powder form steel, pretty much the only powder form steel that you're going to consistently see in budget territory. And it's a good composition. It's nicely balanced. It's essentially powdered 9CR 18 MOV. So you'll get decent edge retention, decent toughness, corrosion resistance. It is a stainless steel and it'll be very easy to touch up. I think it's a great steel. I don't have a problem with it. Moving on here, we have a gigantic lanyard slot. Your lanyard's not coming out of there. Let me tell you what, right? A couple of standoffs here. That's fine. Pocket clip carry depth is good. It's kind of hard to tell that you would be carrying such a large knife, honestly, with just that much sticking out. Pocket clip's okay. We kind of went over that. It's sitting right on top of some peel ply texturing, which is about medium. It's not terrible, right? But over time, it'll fray your pants up. We have a stop pin located in its traditional spots. Quite a large stop pin. No shouldering, but it doesn't really need it. I think that's fine. It does run on bearings. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to see in there. We'll give it a shot. Can we see? Probably not. It does run on bearings, and it's good. It's smooth. The detent strength is also very nice on this. It's more of a click and less of a thud, which is what I remember old CJRBs being, right? Lockout. Completely and totally solid. No blade play up, down, left to right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Very good. Consistent. And like I said, nice click. How are we on centering? I think we're actually slightly to the right. I wonder if we can correct that real quick. When I checked it before the review, it was on, or I'm blind. So perhaps a turn will fix it. If it doesn't, then this came off centered and I just didn't realize it. Yeah, I think it's actually slightly to the right. I wonder, did I actually tighten it though? Let's give it a good crank. Did that fix it? It didn't. I think it actually made it worse, and it made it tighter. Let's loosen it. Did that fix it? No, it went back to the general off-centeredness. Okay, so that means, but you know what? It didn't, wow, it didn't alter the action at all. What that means is that we need to adjust the body screws and the pivot and do the paper trick and move it over, and it will almost surely center up. However, it is 2023 and knives should be centered. So I have seen that on CJRBs here and there. Not so much on Artisan Cutlery, but definitely on CJRB. I think that should be addressed. Not a deal breaker though. If you get a knife that's slightly off centered, that's not a reason to send it back. Just adjust it. I have a 1-minute short that shows you how to fix like 99% of uncentered blades. But if you can't get it centered and it bothers you, right, then okay, send it back, right? $69. Giggity. It's a pretty good deal, I think. It's a larger knife. I don't think it's an unreasonable price to ask. That was the price on the CJRB website, which tends to be the same price on like Blade HQ and Knife Center when it finally lands there. But I'm recording this 2 weeks before anybody will ever see it. How can I do that? Magic. I do have wizard powers. I don't have to explain them to you, but it is magic and you can take my word for it. No, I record things in advance. And they sit in the YouTube ether until I command them to go public. And when I say command, it means click on the button that says public. So yeah, by the time they hit the retailers, they'll probably be exactly the same price. That's what I've noticed, is that the Artisan Cutlery website doesn't seem to be any different. Fortunately for you, you can just buy them right off the Artisan Cutlery website if you want to. In the event that they are still exclusively sold there, which does happen periodically, you can still buy them there. $69 I think is fair. It's not amazing, but it's not like I hate it, right? Not at all. I think it's a good price. If you like larger knives, right, and you're on a budget, consider this. It's pretty good. It's not the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and it will still definitely not be for everybody. For that reason, it's going to go on my Cheap Knives I Like playlist, and that'll be it. But if you do like larger knives and you're on a budget, I think you'll probably enjoy this knife. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. If you enjoyed all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.